these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal.
I'm very pleased to welcome on some friends of ours, friends of the show. That is Kevin Sorbo. You know Kevin's been on the show. Cameron Arnett. I don't think Cameron's been on the show yet. And I'm sorry to say this guy's been on the show for many years at this point. Ben Davies. 3 stars of a new movie, The American Miracle, because our nation is no mere accident. Gentlemen, thank you for coming on the show.
Good to be here.
For having us.
Thanks for being here.
I want Ben to speak as little as possible. Kevin, since you're returning to the show, what's this movie about?
What's a good historical look at our founding fathers? I was lucky to play, I'm going to say the younger Thomas Jefferson, even though I'm not young, because the older Thomas Jefferson was played by Pat Boone. And had a wonderful time doing it. In fact, I'm going to be there, I think, June 4th. They're going to show a screen for it at the Kennedy Center, which I said, don't you have to be a liberal to get into the Kennedy Center? So I think we're breaking down the doors so you'll be able to be part of something in D.C. that's just sacred to the liberals.
You know, I was at the inauguration, I was having a drink and a cigar with a senior member who's going to go into the admin. And he said, Michael, I can't believe I'm saying this, but I've got to leave your party right now so that I can go to the Kennedy Center and hang out with a Kennedy, and I'm happy about it. I said, you know, that's how you know the Trump administration is just completely upended. The fact that you want to go to the Kennedy Center, that you're permitted in now, totally crazy. Cameron, why now? Why this movie at this moment? What does it mean? What are people going to take away from it, not just artistically, but culturally, politically?
Well, I think, you know, the atmosphere shows us that there's such a need right now for us to understand exactly what this country is all about, what we're all about, especially as Christians, and what people that believe in the teachings of Christ. And so for me, you know, particularly, I deal with the fact that, you know, Jesus says, you know, when you take a look at Luke 18, he says, come join my party. So basically, you're dealing with the kingdom of God, and, you know, he's ends up being crucified, not because of his religious beliefs, but because he's actually a king. And so right now we're dealing with the fact that we need to understand what really Christianity is all about, and the founding fathers, and understanding exactly what the basis of this country is, because the atmosphere shows that there's such a need.
Yeah, I like the idea that, you know, if you're Christian, you have a very symbolic understanding of the world. You know, if you're a Christian, there is no such thing as mere coincidence. In America, in Timbuktu, anywhere. You know, if you're a Christian, you recognize that there is a logic to the world, and there is a God who has created the world and who sustains the world at every single moment. Not this kind of deistic God is practically the same thing as atheism, which says, yeah, God created the world and then he just doesn't care anymore and whatever. It's all kind of random and up to us. No. Things have meaning, you know. So we see meaning in the American story. We see meaning in the story of other countries as well. And you can't, well, as a line from my priest, Father George Rutler, he says, it's a wicked generation that seeks a sign and a wonder. And he's not the first to say it, but it's a stupid generation that ignores a sign and a wonder. Mr. Davies, why did these guys let you in their movie?
First, I'm really thankful to be here with such talented Christian men, and also Michael Knowles. And to be a part of this movie especially was awesome. Actually, it's a great point that one of the creme de la creme, which they usually do, made a great point about, the weather, this miraculous thing. Why don't we just sacrifice a virgin to the devil, basically, to fix the weather? And when these miraculous things do happen, a lot of times people don't look at like how and the moment that it happened. This movie really covers that a lot. There's so many miraculous things that happen. You can almost track the wind patterns of all these moments where America would not exist today. George Washington would not be alive. The Battle of Boston or the crossing Delaware, it would not have happened if not for some miraculous moment. Just this perfect wind that would come through, cover the escape, cover the movements. And that was not because people were sacrificing virgin. That was because people were coming together in prayer for these miraculous moments. You don't hear about that a lot in school, which I'm so thankful for a movie like this to go public on June 9th through the 11th, when it's going to be in theaters for everyone to watch. There's some seminal moments like that. And this happens all throughout history. I know a lot of people, one of the more famous ones too is the Battle of Dunkirk. What people don't realize is the Battle of Dunkirk took place on the exact same day as the first National Day of Prayer. And for this miraculous moment for the wind to cover the escape as the Germans are trying to bomb all these 300,000 people, like they just say, oh, it was miraculous. Like it was some brilliant move. And it's like, no, it was God intervening in that exact moment. And that's one of those kind of things that we highlight during this movie.
Right now, go to goodranchers.com, use promo code Knowles. Summer is almost here. That means Dad is firing up the grill for those backyard barbecues. Did you know that over 85% of grass-fed beef in the U.S. is actually imported? That is one reason that I trust Good Ranchers. At goodranchers.com, they source 100% of their meat from American farms. Every cut of beef, chicken, and pork is born, raised, and harvested right here in the USA. No antibiotics, no added hormones, no seed oils, just real quality meat delivered straight to your door. Perfect for when Dad wants to show off his elite grilling skills without the grocery store hassle. So you can get the Knowles custom box at Good Ranchers. There's lots of great stuff. That's what we serve in the Knowles household is Good Ranchers meat. And from my father, this Father's Day, he actually just received it. We've sent a delicious box of Good Ranchers. Am I the greatest son you've ever heard of? I think I'm up there at least. Give the fathers in your life what they really want this summer. Premium, phenomenal meats, the best meat they're going to get at prices that are unbelievable. From America, Good Ranchers connects your family to American farms with convenient delivery, makes every backyard barbecue better. Go to goodranchers.com, get $40 off plus free meat for life with code Knowles. Goodranchers.com, $40 off plus free meat for life with code Knowles. Good Ranchers, American meat delivered. You know, you see this in lots of great battles, like the Battle of Lepanto is a famous one in 1571, when the Christians they're just outnumbered and it's over, and the Muslims are finally going to invade. They've got the much stronger force. They've been trying to conquer Europe at this point for 900 years or something, and they're finally going to do it. And then the Pope just makes everyone pray the rosary. And he's like, you're going to pray right now, all of you, all of Christendom. And then we win somehow. And they say, well, whatever. It must have been the winds or something. Yeah, sure. Winds play a role in it. But let's kind of let's zoom out a little bit, guys. In the American context, I mean, just all of these strange seeming coincidences. The Pilgrims arrive on the Mayflower, which happens to be a great cigar brand, by the way. And they get off the boat. And then just coincidentally, two of the only guys in the continent who speak English walk out of the woods. Even though the Pilgrims were blown so far off course, one of them, Squanto, could talk to them about his journeyings in Spain, in England. They could talk about the same places in England. I mean, how do you understand that? The fact that the Revolutionary War would have been lost had not a fog rolled in during the Battle of Brooklyn at the perfect moment. I mean, how do you make sense of that other than, I don't know, maybe there's a reason that we're all here right now. So then looking ahead, I mean, the libs say we're done for. Many conservatives say we're totally done for. Trump is saying we're on the brink of a new golden age. Kevin, which is it?
Brink of a new golden age. I like the fact that he wants to bring a golden age back to Hollywood as well. I mean, look at the stuff we got to fight with him. I mean, the movies that we all do in this panel, we do movies that have hope and love and laughter and faith and redemption, things that Hollywood used to do. We sort of picked up that mantle and do it instead of them, because you see the movies they want to keep making. I want to talk real quick about what this movie's going to do. Tim Mahoney, I worked with him before. I narrated a thing called Exodus: Proof of Evidence. We spent like a decade in Egypt through archaeological digs to prove that the Exodus actually happened. It's pretty amazing. And I did that probably about 9 or 10 years ago with him. We kept in contact all these years and a couple other things together. They don't teach civics in school anymore. Of course, they don't want kids to grow up learning as we the people. So I think something like this hopefully can get into schools of all levels to kind of remind kids and college students, who are kids nowadays, as they wear their masks and complain about Palestine and stuff. I think that we need to have them watch something like this to give them a dose of the reality of how we became a country. In the fortunate way, we became a country, because so many people take it all for granted. And hopefully this movie gets out and has a bigger opening weekend. We need people to fill the theaters to get more days on these things. That's the tough battle independent movies have. So please tell your pastors, tell your religious leaders, tell everybody, flood the theaters when this comes out in June.
Yeah, it's a great point that history really, involves stories and it involves narrative. And there's been a concerted effort on the left in recent years to change the narrative by which we understand American history. The 1619 Project is probably the best example of it. So we need to make sure that we have the the proper story, a story that is more patriotic, that is more conducive to the flourishing of America, and I think more grounded in truth than the story that the libs are trying to say. So I know the movie's coming out in June. Everyone needs to get ready and get your tickets and get totally ready to see it. I really don't want to hear from Mr. Davies anymore. So Cameron, I want to give you the last word. How can people go out and support the film?
Well, first of all, you have to deal with the fact that, we're trying to tell a story that, is foundationed in the perspective of a Christian understanding of who we are and why we need to get back and maintain that kind of atmosphere. We need to make sure that we are the ones that are sticking to the scriptures the way that we should. And I think that everybody should ferret out, no matter where you are, find a theater, find a place, whether it's streaming, whether it's a DVD, whatever it may be, and see the American miracle. Because the bottom line is that if we're going to have these miracles in order to continue to be the nation that we're supposed to be, we're going to have to stick to Christ, and we're going to have to understand exactly how that works and how it began to begin with.
There you have it. Gentlemen, thank you so much for coming on the show. The movie is American Miracle. Go out, support it right now, and I'll see you all later. And I'll see more of you tomorrow, unless someone breaks my iPad or something. We'll get more Chem de la Creme in studio tomorrow. I'm Michael Knowles. This is the Michael Knowles Show.